Thanks for joining us, guys. We've got a busy couple of hours ahead of us. We're going to be talking to a few other paranormal researchers from around the globe. Hopefully they all turn up. Looking forward to talking to them. So there's a few goodies in there. And we welcome your questions. This is a random casual chat, a friendly bit of a chat. So grab a drink and sit back and just throw any questions our way. We'll try and answer them. As I said before, we'll have a few guests coming in tonight, and you can ask them questions as well. And they may have different opinions from us, or they may have the same opinions as us, which will be great. So let's just have a chat and see what happens. So, okay, we got chat open there, Sam.
We've got chat. We've got partners showing up. We've got people from Christchurch, and
hey,
yep. So we've got about, how many have we got here?
17.
18.
That's
I'm
a
sure.
healthy number, isn't it?
Yeah.
Welcome, guys. Thanks for joining us on this chilly night. How's everybody going around the country? So they're all from New Zealand, did you say?
So far, it looks like it. But if I'm not right, just throw up where you are from in the comment section.
Yeah, I can't see the comments, Sam, so you guys can take that one.
I've got my phone next to mine, so I can have a look.
Yeah.
There might be a slight lag, of course, so bear with us when we're going through the comment section as well.
Yeah. I'll keep an eye on the participants and things. Participants 4, that's good.
So we've got a question from Tammy, and it is, what got everybody into paranormal investigating?
You guys can go first.
You want to go, Natasha? You go first.
Natasha.
Yeah, you go.
Yeah, I'll go first. I had a few interesting experiences throughout my life that I couldn't understand or explain. So that's one of the reasons why I got into, Haunted Auckland and doing my own research and sort of things. I've always been sort of like a scientific person and try and figure out what's going on and how it works, and just sometimes things are not explainable. So that's mostly why I got into this group. So I was interested in looking at the investigation side and trying to debunk things, because not necessarily everything you experience is really paranormal. Sometimes you can explain it away. So yeah, that's probably the main reason I got into investigating. And the gadgets. Yeah, I'm an engineer, so I like the gadgets. Yeah.
Aimee?
How about you, Aimee?
Sort of similar story, I suppose. I've had experiences, that kind of thing, little things where I went, is that actually something or is that not? And always had an interest, had an uncle that had heaps of books. So I used to read, stories of the unexplained and, secretly go on to coast. And there was a website called Shadowlands way back in the day, and it had forums and looking at people's pictures. And now, I look at them and think, oh my gosh, I was looking at so many pictures of dust. But, it's sort of, that was just my interest. And and so then I heard of this group called Haunted Auckland, about 6 years ago, and went to a free event, and that was kind of it, sort of hooked and actually finding out more from there.
It's a huge learning process, isn't it? You're always learning. And I've been doing this for years, for decades, and I'm still learning. I've still got no idea. It's a huge learning curve, really, isn't it? Sam?
I think the paranormal for me, it was something that I've always known, really. I don't know whether anybody else in the group can relate, but it's like from a very early age, I've always been into the paranormal. As in, going to the library, this predates the internet, of course, going to the school libraries and being intrigued by the books. And of course, they've got all the classic photos in them as well, and stories behind them, and reading up on them. And then obviously skip a few years further forward with the internet, following pages like Haunted Auckland on Facebook, and then not actually realizing that there was a group at the time in New Zealand that was into investigating and researching, and then of course having the call out to join, or at least apply to join. So I did, and the rest is history, really.
Yeah.
You know, it's been the perfect opportunity for me to come along to investigations and see some of these sites that I've read about or heard the stories about, and actually, you know, go along with a little bit of forward thinking. And you know, I've got own personal stories of my own, and when I go on investigations, I know that I'm fully conscious. I've got cameras. I'm prepared for anything that's going to happen, as opposed to my own personal stories where, you know, I've been taken by surprise quite a bit. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me with paranormal.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, it's just, I guess it's been a lifetime sort of journey. Been into it all my life since I was a child. Didn't have that many experiences. I had one when I was about 10, but I've just had this general interest in anything out of the norm and anything out of the ordinary. I found normal life a bit sort of boring and dull, and had lots of questions that weren't being answered by teachers at school. So set off on this journey, lots of reading. The first book I ever bought, which really kickstarted my desire, was one that I found in the second-hand shop. And I was 10 years old, and it was simply titled Confessions of a Ghost Hunter. It was by Harry Price. Never heard of this guy and didn't even know anybody was out there researching ghosts. I didn't realize people actually did that. I just thought ghosts were something in movies and on TV, and at that age I didn't really know if they were real or not. So I found this book and I read it, and it was my first sort of adult book that I read. And I've read it a few times since then, and it really inspired me. It inspired me because I knew that there was somebody else out there actually doing research, that you could actually go out and study and research this phenomena. That really appealed to me. I didn't want to just sort of read books about it. I wanted to go out looking for ghosts, and I wanted to talk to them and interact with them and do whatever I could. So that's been my life journey, really, is just sort of going out to locations and just seeing what's out there and taking myself where the research takes me. I don't have any expectations or, you know, preconceived ideas about things. I just go where the research goes and go where the stories are. Yeah, so that's me. Everybody has their own little story, I guess. So does that answer your question there?
Yep, she says, thank you for hearing, for answering as well.
I'm just trying to find out where the other people are.
We've got a question here from Jennifer McGregor. Do you believe in aliens? If so, what are aliens that died? Alien ghosts?
That's a possibility. It's definitely a possibility. I believe in aliens. I believe that there is extraterrestrial life out there. I don't like to use the word believe, but I do believe that they have visited us as we would go out and visit other countries on holiday. We travel the world to see other countries, so why wouldn't they, if they did exist? And I certainly don't believe that we're the only life forms up there or in these multiple universes, you know. And we can't be, can we? This doesn't make sense.
And I guess it all comes down to what is a ghost. And if an alien dies and doesn't have a ghost, that goes on the belief that a ghost is the soul of the living, or a leftover essence of the living. So it would go on that basis as well. Maybe they don't have what we have.
Yeah. Very true.
We've got a question here from Anand. Do we believe in psychics?
Psychics, for me, I haven't really seen anything to convince me that psychics are a real thing. I know a lot of people believe that they are, but I don't know. You just have to look at some of the challenges that have been set out, some of the TV shows where, you know, skeptics have been tested and experimented with and just trialed to see if they do exist, these powers, and nobody's been able to achieve any of that yet. So I don't really know. I mean, I do like the idea, of course. I think it's a great concept, but whether people do possess these gifts, I really don't know. What about you guys?
I think some people do. Sorry, Sam.
No, you go. You go finish.
Ah, cool. I I think that some people do have some sort of gift in predicting things in the future. They may not necessarily label themselves as psychic. I'm not really convinced on people that make the big money, that do the big shows and stuff like that, because there's a guy in the UK that could find out your PIN number by just your body reaction. But I do believe that there are some people out there that can possibly see and sense things that other people don't. Yeah, and I'm not saying all big flashy psychics are bad, because I haven't gone to all their shows. I can't prove anything, but I do think there are some people that may be more sensitive to, say, other people's energies, which is one of the theories behind what a ghost is. Like, your soul leaves the body and your energy has to go somewhere. So yeah, I'm convinced there are some people out there that do have that sort of talent, whether they identify as a psychic or not.
Yes. Yeah, true.
I haven't completely written off the idea of psychics. I mean, I do believe that there are a lot out there in the public eye that may not be the genuine article, but personally, I've had one experience where I can say that it was completely at random, and the person that approached me, never met them before, but they were able to give me details that they would never have known, whatsoever otherwise. And that really took me back. Still scratching my head as to know how they knew really deep, intimate details, that stretched 50 odd years throughout family history. Never met that person ever again either. So
that was pre-internet?
It was not pre-internet, but those details wouldn't have been on the internet either.
So no Facebook though?
No Facebook, no.
No Facebook, no. Okay. Yeah, there are sort of the odd cases that do stand out, isn't there? And it's just have you scratching your heads and thinking, maybe I need to rethink this. I don't know.
I think the real deals are very few and far between. And like you've all sort of said, they are possibly the ones who are not promoting it that actively. It's just part of their lives. It's what they do. And it's incorporated into who they are. I've had an experience where we published it on my page where a lady came to me and she knew nothing about me. All I had put on Facebook was I'd said, how do you find out the history of who lived in your house if all you have is the house, not the people? That's the only information she got. She came to my house. She looked at my house, told me some things about my house, and sure, maybe that could have been researched, but then she explained what was going on in my house, and there's no way she would have known what I had experienced in that house because I had not told her anything, and she came straight out and told me it. And the interesting thing was it completely aligned with another one of my friends who also feels that she sort of has a bit of a gift, and it was exactly the same story from both of them. And that was what made me go, okay, that's really interesting. Because I do believe a lot of people do cold read people, and there's a lot of psychology behind it that if you actually start reading up on how they can sort of steer you in directions to give away clues and things like that. But I think there are people out there, but not many.
Yeah. Keep talking, guys.
There's a cool question from Jennifer about cryptids, about good old Bigfoot. Do we believe in Bigfoot, real or fake? I think there's too much. I believe, with every myth, there is some truth to it. And there are some places, like the ocean, for instance, that we haven't. We explored more of space than we have of our own oceans, so we don't actually know what's in our oceans. That's not really Bigfoot related, but you could try to translate. There's a lot of remote places still in the world where you can't get to, so chances are there could be a cryptid Bigfoot. New Zealand has its own Bigfoot, the Mohau Man, down in Coromandel. And he protects that mountain down there, apparently. And that's I think a Maori legend from memory. and people have seen things down there that they can't explain again. It could be a wild bushman just living rough, or it could be a very big, New Zealand Bigfoot. I don't know. So I believe there are cryptids out there that are still around, and Bigfoot is one of them, even though finding Bigfoot have yet to find one.
Hey, they're trying. It's going to take a few more seasons.
We've got a question from Claire Wallace here. What are your thoughts or experiences with demonic possession in New Zealand or Auckland?
Demonic
I can
possession.
answer that.
You go.
I can answer that. It's a big fat nothing. Absolutely nothing for me. In a year, nothing. But other than watching some of the Conjuring series on a movie, that's it. Some might say I'm closed off to it. I don't actually believe in demons. So, sorry, don't hate me, but I don't.
Well,
So
demons are a human
sort of
construct, aren't they? They're a human construct.
They are.
We constructed them.
Yeah.
We made them. So,
We we came up with them, but I mean, I'm of the opinion that sometimes people like to attribute things they don't understand by creating an entity of some kind, and often there is quite a strong correlation between people who are having absolutely terrible things happening in their life. Maybe they've got mental health issues going on, and it all sort of bundles nicely into this demonic package. So for me, I'm sort of like, I've not had any experience, anything that would lead me to say, hey, that's demonic. There's always been something else to explore first. So yeah, but hey, never say never. But right now, it's a big fat zero for me.
I think it's easier to actually blame demons for any sort of bad in your life, really, isn't it, these days? A lot of people just sort of jump to, it's got to be demons. I mean, I look at all the people that blame Ouija boards. They'll use a Ouija board, and then everything bad in their life that happens from there on, they blame the Ouija board. I think people just need to take responsibility for their own lives, really. And stop blaming other things or other people.
I still think there's merit to saying that as above, so below, or if you're good or bad in the afterlife, that's how you will be. Sorry, if you're good or bad in life, that's how you'll be in the afterlife as well. So, I mean, bad person in life could translate to being a evil or malevolent ghost. Not necessarily demonic, though.
No.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about demons. I don't like to rule stuff out because I don't have any evidence of it actually happening. There was a really sad case in New Zealand a few years ago where they were doing exorcism on a woman, and turns out it was a mental health issue. Like, people thought they were doing the right thing by trying to exorcise this person, and the lady actually died, which is not good. But I do believe people give off different energies, and as Sam said, is like if you say a not so good person in your life, then maybe you won't be necessarily a good ghost. But I do also think that it is easier to blame something else for what's happening in your life rather than taking responsibility and looking at your situation and things like that as well. There's quite a merit on both sides, really. I have yet to see or even see anything demonic in investigations or in my life.
And you do see that now, a lot of the Warren case files, when you see paranormal investigators going back and re-looking at it, they're like, why did they not look at this first rather than jumping to demon? So, slightly different viewpoint now, I think.
Well, let's be honest, there is a bit of money to be made in a good demonic story. I mean, it does
a few books.
Yes. Not to mention actually charging people to get rid of said demons. I mean, how do you prove that you've exorcised something out of someone. And
But that's something
it seems to be quite, it's sort of it's very religious based as well. So when you look at like demons and how they come about and whatnot, generally there's some sort of underlying it's almost like an allegory or a story to tell you how you should, behave. And if you don't behave in a certain way, then you can attract a demon or be cursed or whatnot. It seems to be tied into each other quite tightly. So if you believe in demons, then technically the only people that can exorcise you is a Catholic priest who's been specifically given the task and the training to do so. But what if the demon is not a Catholic one?
Catholic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a question from Kelly, and she says, have any of you been pushed or scratched on an investigation?
Me, not scratched, not really pushed, maybe touched. I'm still on the fence about what happened to me. There was one time at the King Seat Hospital where I did actually feel what did feel like a hand on my shoulder. I felt what did feel like fingers sort of reaching on my shoulder from behind. Whether it was a hand, I don't know. I really don't know. But it was a neat experience. It did feel like a hand. So maybe touched. I'm not too sure. You guys?
Yeah, definitely not by force anyway.
No.
Yeah. I wouldn't say so.
No.
No, I haven't been scratched or pushed as such. I did have a sensation where again it kind of felt like a hand on my leg, just sort of touching my leg, and I sort of commented on it at the time to Barbara and said, "Oh, that's weird," because in my head I had imagined that if I was going to get touched, it was going to feel cold, and it didn't feel cold, and that was sort of like, is that really? There was nobody else there except the two of us and that sort of thing. But yeah, not pushed or anything like that. But again, I don't know, we go in and we do have a very, I suppose, friendly approach. We go in, we introduce ourselves, we talk as if we're talking to a real live fleshy, and we're trying to make conversation with them and treat them respectfully. So, you'd kind of question, why would you be being pushed around if you're actually showing an interest to get to know them,
Right.
perhaps? Maybe that's
Yeah.
innocent.
Do you remember Aimee Massey House? Massey Homestead?
Yes. Which time?
The weird time when only us girls had that sensation from the waist down. So it was sort of like pins and needles, nerve thingy happening in a particular room.
Yeah, it sort of happened first when you went in, and it was sort of shoulder height first. You said, "Oh, when we walk into the space, it feels funny here," and then later on it was, when we were in that far corner, and I was sat on the floor, and I was going, "Oh, it sort of feels here," and you were stood next to me, and it was sort of more around that height. Yeah, and that's the sort of thing. It's a feeling, and it was almost like, for me, I would describe it. You get those little metal prong things that you come on a stick and you put it on your head and you massage your head. Felt like someone was doing that on my head for a prolonged period of time.
That's a weird feeling. We have one of those.
It was odd.
It was odd, but it wasn't scary.
It wasn't
odd.
just it wasn't, and it wasn't just us two. It was the other two girls. It wasn't the guys at all for some reason.
No,
it was very odd. I had one not scratched, but someone almost stuck their hand out and stopped me from walking up to the projection booth of, was it the Capitol Cinema? I was going up the stairs and I felt like something hit my chest.
I remember you reacting.
And I was just like,
that, yes. We got that on video, I think.
Like, what is that? And then whatever that was, painted, and I walked all the way up. I mean, it wasn't, I get asthma, but it wasn't an asthma attack. It was definitely like a physical bump to the chest. versus like tightness of the chest. It was very odd.
Mm.
Yeah.
Sam, you had a push
well, that
with
was-
with your lamp, with your torch at the lake house.
Yeah, that's right. It was like walking into, best thing I could describe as like a force field. Like if there was an invisible piece of wood in the way, and my camera lamp was hitting that piece of wood that I couldn't see, and it just did a full 180 on top of my camera and faced me instead, as if to say, "Don't flash that light at me, flash it at yourself," sort of thing. But yeah, that was a weird experience. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, very force fieldy sort of feeling. Other than that, it wasn't aggressive or pushing back. It was just, it moved with force.
It was enough to make you react, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely enough to make me react and go.
Yeah.
That didn't happen by itself or swivel. I mean, it was tightly on there, and it was enough pressure to actually move it all the way around. But I guess that leads on to another question we've got here. Have you all experienced a form of paralysis where you are trapped or stuck but can't move or breathe at times?
Are we talking about sleep paralysis or when we're awake?
Possibly. Or even on an investigation, I guess. So that's from Sam asking that question.
I haven't. No, I've had sort of EMF sickness where I've felt dizzy and I was going to collapse at one point due to a very high EMF in an area. That was at the Bluestone Room in Durham Lane in the Auckland Central City. But no, nothing like that. Nothing like, nothing that sort of hindered my breathing or, yeah. Sam, you must have, no?
As a kid, not as an investigator, but as a kid, I experienced similar things to sleep paralysis. But looking back at it now, I could probably relate it back to just a severe nightmare. Again, I was into the paranormal from a very, very early age, so I'd also stay up and watch the TV programs and scare myself silly. So, it's probably relatable to something like that.
True.
What about you, Tash?
Not on an investigation, but I've definitely bouts of sleep paralysis, where I've realized that I'm asleep but also awake at the same time. So your body is asleep and you essentially can't move, but you also sort of lucid dreaming as well. It's very odd because you basically be in your bed or on the couch wherever you fall asleep, but stuff that's happening around you doesn't make sense, and you can't move. And usually you have some, I don't know, usually it's like weird shadowy people come along. But I'm also a gamer, so instead of trying to run away or escape, I tend to do the opposite, and then they dissipate pretty quickly. So, but it's definitely sleep paralysis. I have suffered that on and off during my life, throughout my life. Yeah. How about you, Aimee?
Oh, don't get started on sleep with me. My gosh, I'm a weirdo. I'm the opposite. So I fall asleep, but I still hear and sense and, all that sort of stuff with light changes, hearing, etc. So I'm asleep, but I'm responding to what's going on in reality. I get up and I move and I get dressed. And if someone tries to hug me in my sleep, I assume they're attacking me, so I'll punch them. So I'm quite fun when I'm asleep.
Oh, Ryan.
Yeah, he's gotten over it. It's been a tough few years. So yeah, the very opposite of sleep paralysis. I mean, I have dreamed and I have been talking, and it is quite scary because I'll often be talking and saying, I can see you there, come out of the cupboard, stop hiding, and all these kind of conversations. And I've talked about orbs in my sleep, about, oh my gosh, can you see the golden orb? Strange stuff. But no, I don't have paralysis. I do get maybe feelings sometimes. I remember the first Haunted Auckland event I went on, which was to the King Seat maximum security place. We went up a flight of stairs, and you could go either left or right. And I looked to the right, and I went, oh no, something's saying do not go that way right now. Go left. So I went left, and then about 15 minutes later when we came back, I looked at it and went, oh yeah, I can go there now.
Yeah.
It was kind of just a sense, don't know where it came from. That's it. But nothing that was really, it was a feeling of don't go there, not a physical thing stopping me from going there. Yeah.
Hey. Oh, well, we've got our first guest who's joined us. Our first guest has come in. He's in the waiting room right now. So we're going to let you in. Okay. This is a friend of ours from Las Vegas who's doing some amazing stuff. And he has it's a pretty cool series. Let's see if you can get him in there. He's joining. Right. Hey guys, they're in. We've got Matt Benton and Joe Vital. Is it Vital?
Okay, 1 second.
You got it. We can hear you. Hey guys.
Oh, hello. 1 second. I'm trying to change the audio so he can hear, not just from headphones. Settings. Okay, cool. That's why.
That's all good.
Okay, we hear it.
It's all good.
Sorry.
This is why we don't do live very often.
No problem. I was just it was just settings that I had to change.
So you guys are up pretty late, eh? You're up pretty late.
Yep.
Doing some editing, I hear.
Huh?
You're doing some editing?
Yes.
So what are you working on, guys? What are you working on?
Editing a full feature film called The Harrisville Haunting.
Yes. I've been reading bits and pieces about that. Sounds good. When do you expect to have that out?
When will it be out? It should be around, we're thinking August 13th might be the release dates. Well, that's the first premiere and screening. We're going to start screenings. We're not going to actually release it until after film festivals, though.
Cool. Nice. So the location you've been to, it's pretty damn haunted then?
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
This location especially was pretty cool. It's the real Conjuring house.
Oh, really? Okay.
Have you seen the movie?
Yeah,
The Conjuring?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the real.
Yes,
this is the real house.
Yeah. Oh, nice. It's good. That place has been documented well. It's good. Nice. So it is worth a visit then. I've got it on my list.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Without
giving too much away, though, did anything sort of stand out to you?
Anything that stands out? Oh, yeah.
Activity-wise?
Definitely stands out, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Where are you streaming this at? On Facebook, it says?
On Facebook, yeah, just on our Facebook page.
Okay.
Just a casual. Yeah. Oh, that's great. So what are you guys doing over there at the moment? Devil's Hour, you run the PRU, Paranormal Research Unit as well.
Yes,
how many in the team?
Devil's Hour Productions is the production company, also the YouTube channel name. So that's where we put a lot of our content. This documentary, though, is going on more of paid services, streaming services like The Dark Zone, Paraflix, and possibly Amazon, depending if Discovery Plus picks it up or not.
Yeah. No, I'm loving the stuff I've seen at the moment. It's so polished and well produced. You do it all yourself, do you?
I do all the editing.
All self-produced. It's amazing. It's really good. Good job. So it's really nice. Very stylish.
Thank you.
It's great. Okay. So tell us about some of the things that you guys. How did you guys form? Like, how long have you been together?
Well, we've been working together for like a little bit over a year for him and I.
Something like that.
A little bit over a year, and he wasn't a part of any team at all. He has his own YouTube channel called Entity 7 Paranormal, and we just started working together a lot more, and then he finally joined the team.
Cool.
I'm not big, like, for me, I'm not like big on being on a team. I like to have freedom.
Yeah.
Just go investigate with whoever or go off on my own. I don't have to rely on anybody, just me. So he had actually asked if I wanted to join like a year and a half ago. I'm like, no. And then I just decided, you know what? Why not? Because I'll still be able to do, go out there on my own and do what I want to do. So
Yeah, I don't have weird restrictions or anything like that.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So how many in the team total are there? How many in the team?
4.
4. Okay.
We have some in different states that I was working with, but it's going to be mainly us 4 just because I moved out to Las Vegas for the time being because I'm trying to pursue a filmmaking career.
Yeah.
So I need to be near California, Vegas area, all that. So all the good. When it comes to filmmaking, that's the best place to be at. Plus, New York is a good place, but I don't want to move to New York. So
It's a bit busy. Yeah.
A little too busy.
Yeah.
Las Vegas is pretty busy too, but it's not as busy as New York and LA. That's for sure.
you can actually drive here and get somewhere.
Yeah,
It's
LA,
right.
LA
And
is
you've got space to
ridiculous.
spread out in Vegas as well, haven't you?
Yeah, Vegas is okay. I will actually. We're thinking about moving to Henderson because it's nicer. It's the crime rate here is pretty high, so it's better to be probably in the nicer cities right next to it. So
Yeah.
probably gonna move there in a bit. But I have just got hired for an editor job out here, looking that way. So
Nice.
Yeah, I came here the first day I came here. I was greeted with gunshots.
yep, it's
And
great.
a palm tree on fire.
It was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I told him I was like, "Welcome to Vegas."
It's a crazy place. I've been there a couple of times now, and it's just crazy. It's just forever changing. And I've noticed a lot of the hotels, they don't sort of upgrade the hotels. They just sort of let them get grottier and grottier through the years.
Yeah.
Some of them are classic old casinos, hotels.
Yeah. I actually have some friends of mine that are actually out here that I went to school with. I'm originally from Michigan. And they said, oh, it's a real culture shock. And I'm like, this is kind of like a mix of Michigan and Tennessee because that's where I came from, Tennessee. So I'm like, it's not that big of a shock.
Yeah. I love it. I think it's great. The place has real character. It's just,
Character.
and
Yeah.
characters. Yeah. So, I mean, you would have investigated quite a few locations in your time. Which one sort of stood out to you the most, other than the Conjuring house?
I would say probably Virginia City has always stood out to me.
Okay.
So definitely.
Okay.
When it comes to activity, those were definitely in the top tier list in my opinion when it comes to activity. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it, with what we get there most of the time I go there. And I already made an episode of one of the locations. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm trying to look at the Facebook page so I could share it to my followers because they're asking right now. I was live streaming. I live streamed the edits when it comes to the Patreon. Every single time I edit a film or video, because of the evidence being edited, evidence is being edited. There's evidence involved with the edit. So I'm trying to show to skeptics that, nothing's being tampered with in the editing. So I live stream the whole thing when I'm editing. And one of them was just wondering where you guys were. So I was trying to look at your Facebook page. What's the name of your Facebook page?
Haunted Auckland.
Haunted
Auckland, I suppose you guys would call it.
Okay. That's fun. Okay.
Are we going to let him in though, Mark?
Are we gonna let what?
Let you
Send him
in.
the link. Oh, Amy's a taskmaster. She won't let you in unless you know the special password.
Yeah.
And then you have to pass some series of tests
Oh, it's
to
a
get on the
group.
team.
Yeah, we're a group.
Oh, it's a group. Okay, never mind. Sorry, guys. I'm talking to the other live stream.
They can't hear you.
Yeah.
No sound.
Oh yeah, I got rid of this now.
It's still good. Okay, guys. It's been great talking to you. Thanks a lot for joining us. Is there anything you want? We'll put a few links to your pages and all that kind of thing. Yeah, so we're looking forward to it. So August, you reckon might be something coming out from you guys? So sometime this year. Looking forward.
Yeah,
to it.
yeah, it will be coming out this year, and it's definitely my best work yet so far when it comes to editing.
What software do you use?
Right now, I'm using Vegas. I'm going to be switching to Premiere though, Adobe Premiere after this film, because pretty much all professional jobs require Adobe Premiere. And I think it is a better program. I just started on Vegas Pro when I was younger, and I know that program like the back of my hand. So it's like I stuck to it for so long. I should have changed it a while ago, though. Premiere is the way to go. So
Okay, cool. And maybe with investigating, what's your favorite piece of equipment that you guys would use? What would you recommend as the top piece of equipment to use on investigation?
camera, audio.
Yeah.
Good answers. Yeah, I think we all agree there.
We don't like to rely on noisemakers and flashy lights and stuff like that.
because another issue is well, I like the EDI Plus because it actually collects the data on the EDI Plus, so you can record data and you're in the room environments. That's something I do like. We need more of them. We only have one at the moment. So I do recommend that one. I have some setups I do for EVPs called the RSVPR setup to provide evidence towards audio manipulation. And so, which I think is important for if you want to provide, like, there's a lot of people that say, oh yeah, this is audio is being manipulated. This is a spirit voice. They're saying, well, provide evidence towards that it has been manipulated. So doing the RSVPR setup, you can actually validate that phenomena in a way if you capture it. It's very rare though. I still have not caught it yet. When it comes to this setup, using this setup, I still haven't caught one yet. So, but I know one person that has, so audio manipulation seems to be valid since someone else has captured it. So
what are your thoughts on spirit boxes? I have to ask.
Mostly pareidolia.
Oh, I like this guy. He's good. and so on your new show, we're not going to see any flashing cat balls, right?
No orbs.
I like the show already.
Out of it. Yeah, and that stuff doesn't make it into the documentary. We got some really good evidence though that is like the rare phenomena, so it's pretty cool. Like, it's hard to capture, so we got one of those. Good. Happy about that.
Nice. Fantastic. All right, guys, thanks very much for joining us. I know it's late there, so hopefully you'll get a bit of sleep there, and we look forward to your new production sometime this year.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to releasing it. Can't wait for everyone to watch it. It's a good one.
Okay, thanks, man.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
No problem.
We'll stay in touch, okay?
Okay, we'll do.
Here you go. Lovely chaps. Are you on?
We're
The
still
audio?
on.
Oh, good.
We're still on. We're still here.
We're still here.
I thought I
We're
clicked
awake.
something.
Someone had a question about orbs.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. Jason Griffiths. Oh, do you want me to read it?
Have you got it?
You got it, Natasha?
Yep. So Jason is asking about orbs. Explain orbs, please. A house is like a highway on our indoor night vision cameras, and not dust particles. We know of the difference. So I guess they're saying that they're filming indoors with a night vision camera, and there's no dust indoors, and they know the difference between dust and orbs. Well, first off, unless you live in a vacuum, you'll definitely have dust particles, because as gross as it is, as a person you shed millions and billions of skin cells every second of every day.
True.
So potentially it could be some dust that you're, like, even the most pristine, clean places on Earth, unless it's in a vacuum, you will get some dust. I don't know, do you have any photos or anything you want to send us to have a look at it, or even video, just to have a look through? I mean, give us our thoughts, you know.
I think orbs is a tricky one. Orbs is a tricky one because a lot of it is set in belief. People have their own personal beliefs about what orbs are, and you can't sway that. You can't change their minds on that one. It's no matter how much science or physics you throw at them. For me personally, I can go out with my infrared camera. I can go with the other camera. I can go with a torch in the dark, and I can capture dust. I can capture moisture in the air. I can capture insects. I haven't yet seen a spirit orb. I know a lot of people have told me that they have footage of spirit orbs, but nobody's actually ever sent me one. So the ones I've seen on YouTube that claim to be spirit orbs, I can tell straight up. When you slide down, you can see the wings. You can see it's an insect. I've seen enough dust on infrared cameras and DVR systems now to know what dust looks like, because I can stir it up myself. You can film in hospitals, sterile hospitals, and you'll still capture dust. So no building is dust free. As Natasha said, you'd have to be living in a vacuum for there to be no dust floating around. So I think it's just about sort of opening your mind a bit, just sort of learning about things. Learn about. Don't just dismiss everything as being something spiritual or ghosty or demonic or whatever. I think just look into it and think about it. Just widen your thinking about these things and just try not to get stuck in one little frame where everything is ghosts. Because a lot of people live in fear these days because everything around them is ghosts, because they don't seem to want to get educated or just learn little tips that could help them alleviate that fear. Dust is something.
The other thing you mentioned it's sort of like a bit of a highway. So obviously the dust is traveling in a particular direction. So I would explore that direction. Is it consistent all the time? Because it may be particular draft patterns in your house as well. So actually looking at that over several days, and is it traveling consistently? All those sorts of things. Because if it is, it may just be a little draft coming under the bathroom door that's influencing things. Even when we walk across carpet in our house, it may not immediately stir things up. It may happen, a few minutes after we've walked past there, and at which point we sort of say, oh, that wasn't me because I've not walked past in ages. So it's actually looking at the environmental factors, that could be stirring that up as well.
That's not to say that what you have captured there isn't spirit activity. It could very well be. Who's to say that spirit orbs don't look like dust orbs, or that spirits don't come in the form of something that looks exactly like dust? We really don't know. So there's a lot of assumptions there. We go by what we've seen ourselves and what we've been able to deduce ourselves by going through it all and working through it and being able to recreate it ourselves and film it ourselves. So we can only go by what we know and what we've seen with our own eyes. It's up to you to decide what you're really seeing for yourself. Okay, we've got another.
Yeah, and of course, the orbs to debunk orbs. It's not just dust. It could be insects. It could be moisture in the air. It could be a whole lot of other things. It could be light interference as well. It wouldn't necessarily just be dust. It could be another common one for CCTV cameras is insects attracted to the lights from the camera, and they will appear bigger as they come closer to the camera. And they'll look like all sorts of different shapes as well.
Also spiderweb. A lot of outdoor sort of cameras will attract insects that sort of hang around, like spiders, and spiders will build spider webbing. So you'll get little strips of webbing that could actually look like something in front of the camera, or something moving as it goes past the infrared light. Something to think about, it's it pays to sort of look into it. Yeah.
Sorry. Jennifer's got a question here. She said, I used to have demonic nightmares when I was little, really intense, where demons used to run the hallway towards me, and I was only like 7 years old. There was an old picture in my room of a wolf in front of a moon like a painting. My grandmother said it was that was causing the dreams. My parents removed it, and then the nightmares sort of stopped. Like they went away and came back every now and then, but I haven't had that dream since I was like 10. Can you guys explain whether it was, maybe could it have been attached to the picture or something else? So I think that children are incredibly open to persuasion, and they're very susceptible to what we tell them. And I think, you may have been having this dream because of whatever else, and it could just have been something, nothing to do with that painting. It's got into your brain. You've seen something on TV, or somebody's told you a story, and you've had this dream. But actually, the persuasion comes in the fact that you were told, oh, this painting is what's causing these dreams. I'll take this painting away. Those dreams will stop. Because I use exactly the same thing on my daughter. She was having bad dreams. We put a dream catcher in. I told her that all her bad dreams were going to get caught in the dream catcher. And every now and then, if she had a bad dream, I said, oh, it's because your dream catcher's full. We need to go outside and empty it. And so, and it worked amazingly well. Her bad dreams stopped. And if she had a bad dream, she wasn't all phased about it. She'd just say, oh, Mum, the dream catcher's full. Can you go empty it? And then she'd roll over and go back to sleep. And I think that's the thing with children. It can be that we have so many ideas planted in our brain that sometimes we don't even realize a little bit. Yeah. Anyone else?
I mean, it could be power of suggestion. Children are very suggestible. You can pretty much say anything to a child and they would probably believe you. Also, I don't know what your background is, but if you follow like Norse mythology and things like that, like there was the wolf that ate the moon, and obviously when it goes dark, all the demons come out type sort of thing. So you may have heard a story from your grandmother that you can't remember, or you might have even watched, well, this was a while ago, I presume. I don't know how old you are, but before the Marvel universe came out with all the Thor things and that, there's a lot of mythology in there. So as a kid, you may have been read something or taught in school something about mythology, about wolves. But yeah, it's quite probably the power of suggestion, because the fact that the painting went away and you still sort of semi-periodically still had the nightmares would suggest that it might have not even been something anyone said to you. It could have been something you watched on TV, or you heard someone talking, and your subconscious is obviously coming out when you sleep that, oh my God, these demonic things are after me, and it's that painting of the wolf and the moon. Who knows? Yeah, I'm not really sure about cursed objects per se. I haven't really come across any, to be honest. Yeah, anyone else's thoughts?
Okay, I'm just about to let somebody else in. We've got another person waiting. Right, okay, we've got a visitor here. We've got a guest all the way from Australia, a good friend of mine from Melbourne, Australia. Here he is. He's in the waiting room. It's Bill Tabone. Bill Tabone is from Australian Paranormal Society. Hey,
hello,
Bill.
mate.
Hey, Bill.
How you doing?
Excellent.
Awesome, bro.
Thanks for joining us, man.
Oh, thanks for having me. That's really cool.
Yeah, we're just doing this for a bit of fun. It's on a Wednesday night. It's something different.
Yeah. I was completely forgot about our time difference, mate. I'm thinking, I've got a couple of hours left.
That's right. You're only, 3 hours behind us or something?
A couple of hours, yeah. I think 2 hours. 2 or 3. Yeah, 2 hours, I think. So, yeah.
I'll meet some of the members of my team, mate. It's there's Sam and Natasha and Aimee there.
G'day, guys. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Awesome.
I've been talking to Matt Benton and Joe Vitale from Devil's Hour Productions in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
They
cool.
popped in for a brief talk. That's good. Nice to hear from those guys.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
That's awesome.
So what's been happening over your way, mate? Are you still in lockdown?
Look, we're coming out of lockdown pretty much. There still are restrictions. Things are starting to open up properly again. We had a couple of setbacks where we had to sort of lock down for a week or so, and 7 days here, 7 days there. But look, we're starting to get back to things, so it's all good. Can't complain too much. How about you guys? We're
fine. We're all good in Auckland here. We're good. We're
you guys
free to roam.
I was going to say, you guys did it right from the start. That's the thing. We unfortunately our guys messed around a little bit too much. So yeah.
Okay, so you've just released a book, man. You released a book of Tell us about that. How'd that come about?
Oh, look, mate. It's the book's about Arrowdale Asylum, which is down here in Victoria. It's called Ghosts of Arrowdale. It's really a lot of experiences from myself and my group, and people that we've had along with us on. We do a regular investigation tour there, just experiences people have had. It's an amazing location. We were fortunate enough to spend quite a few weekends locked in there. Sort of Friday night through to Sunday. And, you know yourself, the more time you sort of get to spend, the more that I believe they get used to you and you start to get some good interactions,
We're seeing that now at the moment, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I believe in that wholeheartedly, that, the more time you spend with them, the more they get used to and the more they're likely to open. So it's really about all these amazing experiences, some of them nice, some of them not so nice, just all sorts of different things. So it's a great read if you sort of just want to get a rundown on what might happen in that location, which is really, yeah.
Well, without spoiling too much about what's in the book, I mean, can you run us through a couple of incidents that may have happened at Arrowdale that you can remember that really?
Absolutely. One of the most the most extreme experiences was I had myself and another investigator. We were locked in the men's wing, which is 3 stories. All the exits were closed off, so no one could get in, locked from the inside by us. We had a lot of weird things going on, and it felt like the atmosphere was feeling quite threatening. And we were talking, I was with this other investigator talking, there's a couple of feet between us, and we hear something, imagine something being thrown through the air and you get that sort of sound. An iron bar about between 3 and 4 feet long come actually flying between us from out of the darkness, which was pretty amazing. That was probably one of the most extreme ones we've come across. This was a big hall. This was a big ward room, so it's not like someone was hiding around the corner. We were a good probably 15 meters away from where anyone could have been, and there was no one in the joint. I mean, we locked the place down ourselves. We checked the place, so that was probably one of the most extreme. One of the funniest or the sort of most surprising ones for me was we were in the forensics ward, which is outside the main compound, and it's an old building, and I've had a group in there. We were doing some investigating, and I've said, okay, I usually open the door, let them get some photos, and I'll wait outside for them. So one lady wanted to get outside because it can get quite claustrophobic. I've opened the front door. There's a short man standing there in the old outfits that they used to wear. He sort of looked at us shocked. I've gone, oh, and then he's sort of taken off and disappeared. I looked at the lady to say, did you see that? And she's standing there with her mouth wide open. So I think we surprised this fella as much as he surprised us. So that was quite funny. But there's all these sort of experiences we've had through there. So,
wow, that's damn cool, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, we've had some great times there.
Yeah. So when you go in there to investigate, you have the full setup, or do you just keep it quite light, or what do you?
Look, we take when we're there just on our own, or when we've been there just to investigate. We will take DVRs and we'll take everything that we use. When it's a public investigation, what we do is we pack backpacks and that we can actually take with us. So we won't set up static cameras and things like that because we're on the move the way through. This is a huge location, some 63 buildings.
Yeah. 63
total.
buildings.
What's
Really?
that, sorry?
63 buildings.
It's huge. It was the
63.
biggest. It was the biggest asylum in the Southern Hemisphere at one stage. Even just the main building, it's a rabbit warren. I've walked in there. I've been there a lot. I walk in there in the dark, and I get confused sometimes. You know what I mean? So it's massive. But when we're there, when we spend the weekends there, we'll take everything in. So I'll have one part, I'll have DVRs set up. Another part, we might have audio. And spread it out, because it is such a big location. We need to try to cover as much as we can. We tend to, when we were doing that, we tend to focus more on one area, if that makes sense, each time we were there. But have a general investigation as well, which was good. So.
Yeah, I need to get over there. You need
to come. You need to come, bro.
I'm hanging out. I'm really wanting to. I've got friends over the UK that are saying, when are you going to come over? I'm like, well, I can't, and as soon as I can, I'm going to be booking those tickets,
Exactly. I've been to the States a couple of times. I've been to the UK. I've been pretty lucky, and I'm hanging to get back to Gettysburg. There, I had some amazing experiences over there. And this time I want to take the family. So, Amanda and the boys, I had my eldest son with Amanda with me the last time I went, and that was great fun. But I want to take everyone with us. And unfortunately, at the moment, it's a little bit difficult. So, but they're New Orleans, some amazing places all over the world. It's just great.
So, Australian Paranormal Society, how many people on the team?
We have probably about 7 at the moment. We have been bigger, but people move on and things, and such. But I like it not too big. The people I got, I trust 100%, and they're good investigators. They're really good at what they do. They're good with they're good with people. They understand how things work, and they're doing it for the right reasons. You know what I mean? No ego and that sort of stuff, which is great.
That's great. That's awesome. Yes. Well, that's bloody great, man. You guys got any questions for Bill?
Yeah, Airedale. Would you stay there in the building by yourself, in the main building?
Yeah.
Would you sleep over there by yourself?
Yeah, I would. I fell asleep in the freezer at the morgue once. That was fun. We had a really hot day, and I had an investigator with me, and I said, "Look, I'm going to go." Right at the end of the day, it was about probably 3:30 in the morning. I said, "Put me in the freezer. I'll take a voice recorder." I said, "You wait out there." I had a camera. If you hear me start screaming, get me out. That sort of thing. But it was so hot, but even the freezer's not working. It's still all concrete, and it was really cool in there. So I sort of started to relax, and I was dozing off. My eyes were going, and I'm thinking, geez, we're going to hit the sack soon. So I started dozing off, but then I started sort of to feel things and hear things, and, and that sort of brought me back. But I was in there about 45 minutes and, wasn't scared. There's no fear in there. Something was playing my legs. Then I heard something whistling. And right at the very end, something actually hit the concrete right next to my head, like a slap. And I thought, yeah, maybe it's time to get out and go go to bed. So I pulled out then. So no, look, I've wanted the place myself, and you do have your moments when you think, of course, this feels a bit ominous, but no, look, it's what we do, isn't it, guys? Sometimes you got to understand the fear and control that. You know what I mean? So, I always say, even to my boys, I've got 4 sons and a daughter. As they're growing up, they get scared, because they're all my kids have got the ability like their mum as a medium, and they get scared. And I sort of explain to them that you're allowed to be scared. You try to understand what you're doing, and brave isn't not being afraid. Brave is doing what you need to do, even though you are afraid. And so with what we do, it's the same sort of thing. You have your moments, and anyone that says they don't get scared in these locations, especially when you start to feel things, it's it happens. And
exactly
so
right.
But I would love to sleep in there on my own again. It would be fun.
Well, it's a very character building experience, isn't it, doing it by yourself?
It really is. It's a different thing. Yeah. And, you know, it's like yourself with the team, you're sort of watching out for the team all the time as well. You know, so for me, I imagine you guys would be the same. I'm very protective, and I watch my guys to make sure they're not being affected and that. So when you're on your own, and I don't condone people investigating on their own as a rule, but, you know, sometimes when we make the rules, we can break them. You know, you're not worrying about other people. You're worrying, you know, you're concentrating on the environment and on what's going on around you and yourself, you know.
It's also about knowing your limits as well, and just
Exactly.
knowing what you can handle mentally, physically, and all that kind of thing. I mean, I do a lot of solo investigating myself.
Yep.
I mean, while I love doing it with a team, I also do my own personal stuff as well.
Yep.
And so I get to see both sides, you know, and you know, it's for some people. For some people, it's not. You know, some people, they prefer to be in a team.
I understand. I agree exactly. But you're right. It is about testing, sort of finding your limits as well, as you said. You know, it's people sometimes operate better when they're in a group because they lose that little. There's other people. There's a little bit of fear gone, and they can concentrate on what they're doing. You know, some people do operate better on their own, but as well. You know, so. You know, it is. You're right. It's the person's mentality. It's the person's capabilities.
True.
Yeah.
Any other questions, guys?
Anything.
Hey.
Anything. I mean, we do a lot of. I do a walking tour of Melbourne. We have another location called, which is it's an old part of an old homestead. It's in Bundoora Park. It used to be called Cooper's Settlement. Yeah. And we've had some great experiences there as well. So. You know, it's probably it's not as intense as Aradale, but it is another good location. So, you know, yeah, that's we have a couple other locations that we do now and then, but no, I love it. You know, I love when the public come there and they have an experience, or even get to experience what we do in a sense. So you guys probably be the same. You know, I would imagine you know. You guys are out there, you know, presenting to the public as well. So,
we do a few events here from time to time, and it's always nice when something does happen for them to experience, just to get a feel of what it's like.
Absolutely.
Doesn't happen all the time, of course, but you know.
And you know what I always say to them, it's not like you know, some people expect something to happen, and you know, nothing's staged, so you can't expect spirits to be like a trained dog, you know, jump when you got told. You know,
have that disclaimer, don't you? That
exactly
guarantees.
You know? But then, you know, I've had some people that we've had nights where it's been so quiet, and they've just had a marvelous time because they've seen how we operate, they've seen the equipment, they've got to experience an environment like, you know, the asylum or like the farm or wherever, in a time where they normally wouldn't. You know, and you know, people do enjoy it. They just you know, a lot of people just really embrace it, and I love that. Yeah.
Are there any paranormal researchers, old or new, that you sort of look up to, that you respect or are inspired by or influenced by in your own research?
Look, I'm very eclectic. You know, I pull from everywhere. So I'll take, you know, where I can learn. I've learned from people that have just started in the field because they're coming so fresh. And and their ideas are so fresh. They'll say something, and you know, they might think it's, you know, it's just basic, but for me, it's like, you know what, that makes a hell of a lot of sense. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know what I mean?
I do.
But then
I've looked at
exactly. Yeah, you know, I've looked at some of the older investigators. You know, so many of them. But you know, I look at what everyone does, how they work, and it's like the old Bruce Lee saying, you know. Absorb what is useful, discard what is not. So you take what you think you can use and make it your own, you know, and that's what I do with everyone. So for me, it's always trying to learn, you know, and it's surprising how often you learn from things that aren't paranormal as well. You know, ideas on equipment, ideas on techniques, you know, and things like that. And speaking to different people, you know, it's so it's really hard to name one person, but
well, that's why we network with so many other teams and researchers around the world, because just communicating with other teams and just getting to know other people like yourself, you know, just finding out how you do your way of things and how you investigate.
Yep.
Little tips and little snippets of things through conversations you can pick up.
Exactly.
I mean, I've learned things actually from new team members. We've had new team members come in recently, and just in conversation, you'll be in an investigation, just sort of chatting about something, and you'll just learn a little piece, a little snippet of some bit of information that you think, I never thought of that angle before.
It triggers something.
Fresh persons come in, and when you've spent like many decades doing this, you have your sort of kind of a set way of doing things. Somebody fresh comes into the team and says, "Have you ever thought about this?" And you go, "No, I haven't."
I have now.
Yeah, and it's great. It's really good. It's bouncing ideas around. I love it. It's really good.
That's awesome. And that's the thing. Never stop learning. Never stop learning. Even I tell you what. Even my kids are. All of them apart from the youngest are in the field with me. The youngest is waiting to get in the field. He's just a little bit young at the moment. But he come in here and we were testing out some mics, and he said, let's do a session. I want to do an EVP. I said, okay. So I'm sitting in the office here where I am now. We were testing out some mics we had, and he's asking questions, and he actually got a response. So it's so innocent, and it come through, and it was a young girl, and I can't even remember what she said now, to be honest. But little things like that, and I think he was asking just like real basic sort of questions, and I'm thinking, what, basics, and we're getting answers.
It's simple.
You know what I mean?
Simple.
And it's little things, and even now, like, people say, "Oh, what do you take to your investigations?" I say, for myself, when I'm on my own, I take a voice recorder and a camera. I've gone sort of that full circle where you want to load up the car with everything you got. You end up with, we've got big 4-wheel drives we use, and stack it, but how much can you actually use and observe the environment? And, when you've got a lot of people, yes, when you're on your own, mate, I'm back to basics. If they want to talk to me or show themselves, they will. So, yeah.
Well, speaking of equipment, I mean, like, what do you reckon is the most overrated piece of equipment out there at the moment on the field?
The SLS, I think, at the moment. Yeah. It reads things that aren't human as human, and I'm not. Look, it's an interesting bit of gadget, and I did have an experience with one once, but in general, to me, it is overrated. It's reading things that aren't human as human and giving false readings, and unfortunately, people are taking it as being paranormal. You know what I mean? The one experience I did have, we were actually in a jail, and we were in the cell of a and it wasn't my SLS, someone else had brought it, because I don't use them, but this lady was saying, I feel like I'm being strangled. He's psychosomatic as well. I thought, that's the way your brain works. Why is this happening? The SLS actually had a figure up behind her, and it looked like the arms were around her neck, and I thought, that's interesting. But could have been reading the brickwork at the back. You know what I mean? But that's the only really interesting thing I've had with an SLS. For me, it's just too unpredictable.
I think it's a nice idea, and I think you could possibly develop it or use it in some other way within research. But I don't know. I like to give every sort of gadget a try and then test it for myself. And now I've got this I've got a huge big box just full of gadgets that I just don't use anymore.
Yeah, well, I've got, if you look sort of over here, I've got a cupboard there for all the, all the stuff that hardly gets touched. But, if you're like me, you don't want to throw anything out. So.
That's right. It's like a little archive, isn't it? Historical archive of equipment.
My young blokes will come in, and when they were little especially, they come in and they'll grab gadgets and start trying to see how they work,
Yeah.
So it's always, it's always good to see them try to learn how things operate. So.
Yeah. Okay, Bill. Well, love you and leave you. It's been nice talking to you.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks a lot. We'll put some links and all this afterwards. And
awesome, guys. And if you make it over to Melbourne, give us a shout. Let us know.
Definitely coming over. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Group road trip. All right.
Hey.
You take care, guys.
Thanks, Bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you all. Bye.
Hey, lovely man. How you guys doing? All right?
Yep, we've got a few more questions here as well.
Okay, we might as well let our next guest in, eh? We've got a couple of guests here,
man.
and they can help us answer the question. These they're from Australia as well. Those Aussies. Okay. Come on in, ladies. Hello. Can you hear us?
Oh.
That's it. We got Cag and Alison from Adelaide, Australia, from Haunted Horizons Ghost Tours. Hi, guys. Did your sound go? Oh, your sound's gone funny.
We can't hear you.
Don't worry, we had troubles too setting this up.
Uh,
Oh, no. Hang on. Does it say? Says you're connecting to audio.
oh, they're going. They're going to come back.
I think we're doing all right so far, guys.
Yeah. Well, oh, how are we going? While they're just sorting out their audio, do we want to answer a quick question from Kelly? Will you be investigating Waikimete Cemetery / train station?
Oh,
what's the plans, guys?
Why not? We could. Well, the train station itself, I mean, there's the cafe. It's a cafe now. The bit where the ghost is seen is actually a cafe. We've tried to get into there. We can't really get into there. There's so much noise around it in that area. It would be a bit pointless doing an investigation as such, but it's and there's a lot of crazy people hanging around on those tracks. So
there is.
Yeah, Sam met one last time we were there. Yep. So yeah, we could. Investigation-wise, it wouldn't really be worthwhile, honestly. Waikimete, yeah, that's a great place, and we can get into that quite easily. I'd like to do some more stuff in there because it's such a peaceful, quiet place, and when you're right in the centre of Waikimete, you don't get the traffic noise sort of surrounding it. It kind of muffles it. So yeah, I reckon we could do it. Yeah, why not?
There are plenty of stories there to be told and investigated. So, but yeah, as you say, it's an outdoor location, which does make it a bit harder for hearing anything necessarily. And you know, obviously, with cars going past, there is a little bit of light interference as well.
Hey, Cag and Alison,
they're struggling to get back in.
they're struggling again.
So we got another question.
Yeah.
What's the weirdest thing that's ever happened?
You guys can go first. I'll just sort these ladies out.
Oh. Kelly, honestly, weird is just, I don't know, weird is just our life, isn't it?
Your domino game. What about your domino game?
Well, yeah, that is probably one of those little life moments that there's not many people can say that they've played dominoes, potentially with a ghost and lost. That's probably up there, I would say. Sometimes some of the weird things that happen are just the team, isn't it? It's just the team in the night.
How about the fact that you lost to a child, supposedly, allegedly?
Okay, so all right, so it was a child ghost, and I lost. Let's just.
And how old was she?
Oh,
how
and
old
then
is she?
9.
Yeah, how old are you?
Well, while we're at it, let's slightly more than that. So, yeah.
How old's your daughter?
And then slightly older than that.
Oh, we got audio.
Sound.
We got people.
Hey!
I'm trying my laptop now. It was a phone before, and it wasn't giving sound either way. So
That's all right. Oh, good to see you guys. That's awesome.
Thanks you. Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Oh, thanks for coming along. It's awesome. We're just doing something different for a Wednesday night, having a bit of a casual chat with the people and answering a few questions. It's been fun.
Oh,
it's been nice.
That's cool.
And a few guests on. You look a bit wrapped up there, like you've been out in the cold.
We are freezing. We're down in Mount Gambier at Mount Gambier Jail at the moment, so it's like gloves and all sorts.
Yeah, it's cold.
Very
You're doing a
cold.
midweek investigation.
Yeah, we've been here 3 days investigating. So, yeah.
Jealous.
We go home well, we don't go home. We go to another old place tomorrow. I don't think we're investigating there, but yeah, we're just going to some old locations and go home at the weekend, unless we get locked down in the next 24 hours.
So is this a full-time thing, or is this
It
or is
is.
it a bit of a holiday?
Because we run Haunted Horizons, which is the tours and the investigations, and we do probably about 15 investigations a week with the public. And then when we have a time off and we have a holiday, we go and investigate elsewhere. So
Yeah, this is promoting tourism as well, what we're doing at the moment. So we're helping promote tourism in our unique way, which is investigating.
Yeah.
Because
tourism,
amazing stuff over there. It's incredible.
Yeah, tourism needs such a boost. I mean, you would in New Zealand as well.
Yeah.
So we thought, well, if we do what we call on the road, it's going highlighting and showcasing all these kind of accommodation places that are haunted, hospitality places, but push them to the public just to highlight them a bit and have a bit of fun on the way. So
you're just traveling all around the place, staying in different hotels and things, or do you have a few sort of locations that you use?
Yep.
No, just travelling around.
Yeah.
And we pay for our own hotel accommodation. We buy our food in different places, so we're actually trying to help the economy out as well in our little way.
Yeah,
it's
awesome.
It's good.
What a lifestyle!
Yeah, we love it.
Our husbands don't know who we are, but I mean,
they've forgotten who. Yeah, they've forgotten who we are.
It's all good.
Last heard, I don't think my husband wanted me back too soon anyway.
No, neither did mine.
Oh, really? No.
I think he's enjoying the time off.
Yeah. Well, you guys have been like traveling around quite a bit, haven't you? Like, how many years have you guys been traveling around together?
2016, we did our first one.
Yeah.
And she was just working for me then, Kag was, and she happened to be going to England. And I said, I'll fly with you. And we ended up,
you hijacked my flight.
I did. I hijacked your holiday completely. And we just hit it off, and it was so much fun. And then we started to go to England and America every year. Obviously, that's like you, we can't travel. It's so frustrating. But it's just been, every day I wake up, it's like I feel so lucky that I'm doing something that I enjoy. It's a passion. It's hard work, but it's a passion, and I wouldn't change it for the world. It's just the best. Yeah.
And what I love is that it's always stood out to me is the way you investigate and the way you sort of run your tours. I mean, I've seen video footage and bits and pieces, and I've watched a few live feeds that you've done. You mix it up. You mix up the scientific with the not so scientific, and you put it all together, and you try all sorts of experiences. It's not always the same routine, and it gives you real credibility. It doesn't sort of. I certainly don't. I mean, there are so many people out there doing this kind of thing, and you guys sort of over in Australia doing this kind of thing. You don't seem flaky to me. I don't put you in the flaky category. I put you in the more sort of like, respectable paranormal researchers. I'm being very gentle about how I word all this, of course.
We call ourselves flaky. You're all right.
Yeah. Our motto is keep it real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we
exactly
use
right.
everything. It's like we say. It's because obviously I was researching it without doing the tours for probably 30 years, and I found I got to a stage where I wasn't enjoying it. We weren't getting anywhere. I'm going to say it was almost like I had a stick up my ass. It was like, it must be done this way, it must be done that way. And once I started doing the tours and I relaxed and I just started enjoying it for what it was, and I will try anything, because I think if we don't try everything, we put things aside and go, oh, that shouldn't work, that's rubbish. Do we miss something? And, it may only be 1 in a million times it happens with that piece of equipment, but would we miss it if we didn't trial it, sort of thing? I'm not saying it's good. And we make this very clear on the tours. We're not there to say we like stuff or we don't like stuff. We're there to give them the opportunity to try this stuff before they go and waste their money, go out there and pay thousands on bits of equipment. At least I have it for a business purpose. So they get to try this stuff and they can make their own minds up, whether they like it or they don't like it. You know, I'm not going to make judgment on anything.
And they love the flashing lights and the ones that and it does not happen.
But we do make clear on how those flashing lights can be a very much a natural thing, which you probably see. I do try and explain it. You know, your phones, even that tower in the distance can set this off. So don't think it's a ghost. And I would want to see that go off. I would want to see something else go off. And I'd want something else maybe to happen as well before I go, oh, no, that's a little unusual. And this is what we try and teach our tours. It's not like the TV shows. So
yeah, we're sort of the same, really. Like whenever we do a public event, which is only a few times a year, we usually tell the audience that, like, we're not going to stand here and tell you or try and convince you that ghosts still don't exist. And we let them try gadgets. We bring along a few gadgets that are out there on the market, and for them to try for themselves and see what they get out of it, form their own opinions. And we want them to just have an experience, use some of the gadgets. We bring Ouija boards and all sorts of stuff along because a lot of people have fear of Ouija boards. So we'll just bring a couple of Ouija boards, and those that want to have a go on it, they can have a go. And most of the time, we've never had anybody sort of reject the Ouija boards. They're all into it. They all want to have a go. Yeah. And I think for most of the people that have used them, it's all been a very positive experience, and they can actually learn something. They come away learning something about Ouija boards, yeah, we just put the gadgets out there and say, have a go, try them out. Yep. This is how they work, and it gives them a taste, and they can see for themselves.
It's even with, because we do, while COVID came, we started doing the live stream investigations, which I know you've popped onto a couple.
Yeah.
We will use the ghost box, we'll use the portals, we'll use anything. It's basically, but I will explain, which you would have seen on the videos, I do explain that what it is. It's a broken radio. It's running through the radio things, and our brains are going to put answers to this, that, and the other. So I do make that clear. We'll still use it because the guests like to watch it and like to use it and make up their own minds. I never say I've heard. It's like they're going, oh, we've heard this, we've heard that. And it's like, well, that's nice. I didn't. Yeah. It's like, but right. They're enjoying themselves at home, kind of doing their stuff. But I always make it clear. In every video I do, I make it clear, no equipment has ever been proven to catch ghosts. So it's literally, it's only there just maybe as an indication if we're getting something happening and that's going off as well. Maybe it's an indication that something unusual is happening. Is what we're more. An
anomaly. It will capture an anomaly. Yeah. The trick is to find out what that anomaly is.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's what we're here for.
Exactly.
So I mean, gadgets.
If we were investigating on our own away from, I guess, the public and tourism and live streams and putting the highlights up on the YouTube channel, which I do, we would probably do it very different. It's like Bill said before, I would probably sit for hours just monitoring quietly with little bursts of trying to get interaction, but we wouldn't be flooding the place with constant like questions and can you do this, can you do that? It would just be quietly listening, quietly monitoring with cameras and audio. And that's how I would do it if I was on my own or with just CAG or something like that. Obviously, public aren't going to come along and just sit and do that. So it's like, I'm bored, I want something to happen. It's like, yeah. But 9 times out of 10, they won't get, and we explain it as well. It doesn't happen every day. If it happened every day, it wouldn't be paranormal. It wouldn't be supernatural. It would be natural and normal. So it's trying to take those beliefs that the TV shows have put on there. You get something happening every time and try and change that a little bit. But they still go away enjoying, even when they haven't had anything happen. So
yeah. For anybody that wants to go to Australia, that wants to come over to Australia and they want to experience the most haunted location in Australia, what would you recommend?
I actually dislike the most haunted tag on a building.
I know, me too.
Yeah, because how do you quantify that? Everybody puts that out there. We've got the most haunted place. And
okay, the most activity that you've experienced.
That's probably better. And for our own venues, Tailem and Zedward definitely are the two most challenging. Zedward is a criminally insane building. They were very disturbed there. That one's challenged me the most. I don't see ghosts, let's say 30 odd years. I probably in all that time, and thinking of the man hours I'm in these places, maybe that possibly was about 15 times. That's not a lot when you think of the man hours that I'm in haunted locations, but that's the reality of it for me. 6 of them have been in Taylor, and 6 of them, well, about 6 there, 6 sightings in Zedward as well. That excites me more because I don't get that very often. It's not like I walk around seeing ghosts, and so those 2 locations challenge me the most, and I like that. It's like anything that challenges me, but even then it can be quiet. Overseas, yeah, I think my most would be the West Virginia Penitentiary,
Right.
Licking County Jail, and Randolph County Asylum, the 3 most on edge that I think I've been to ever. So if you ever get over there, definitely do them.
I haven't really been much in the States. I've sort of been to Vegas and California, and but not.
Markham Castle in Wales as well.
That was fairly scary on your own.
That was eerie.
So, but yeah, I mean, you know, I can go to these. I went to Waverly Hills, and we had very little happen. It was a very quiet night. You felt like it could, but it never did. Because I was the same. It's going to be ghosts jumping out the walls at you, dark shadow figures. So, you know, and it doesn't mean it's not haunted, because I know people who have had experiences there. It's just that I was there on a very low activity night, or I'm not interested enough for anything to connect with. So
I found the same. Like I've been to the UK quite a bit, and just like I've gone to some of the most haunted locations around the UK, and I've always been quite disappointed. You know, you go in there like the Ancient Ram. I mean, I'm keen to go back to the Ancient Ram again. I want to spend another night. I stayed by myself for a night and had nothing happen.
Yeah, we were the same. We didn't have anything.
Yeah. Oh, we had the crawling sound in the grave.
Oh,
But that was it. It could have been a mouse or a rat as well.
Yeah.
But,
oh yeah.
We've never had much happen in the UK really. It's been mostly.
We did Bobby Mackey's. We got I mean, we didn't even get a knock. I'm going to put it up as an example, because people go, why do people only put episodes up where they get things happening? And it's like, because you won't watch something that just doesn't. But I thought, you know what, I'm going to put Bobby Mackey's up, because we got absolutely nothing, not even a knock, nothing, absolutely nothing. I thought, you know, I'll put that up anyway and just see how many hits it gets when you have zilch compared to. So, yeah, be an interesting experiment. So.
We're finding the same thing with our YouTube channel, actually, because I've sort of been getting right into sort of making little videos of our investigations. And it's mainly because we've got lots of footage from multiple cameras. So I thought, oh, why not compile it? And if people are interested in what we do, they might want to watch it. But the main complaint has been that the videos are boring because they're not scary enough.
Yeah.
I said, well, it is what it is. This is
what it is. Yeah. So, and it's like I said the other day, somebody said, oh, you always seem to have something. It's like, no, we don't. If you look at my hard drive, I have nearly 100 terabytes of video footage from tours, all the tours we've done, going right back to early PFI, Paranormal Field Investigator days. And out of all that footage, the only things I'm putting up is the times when something's happened, but there's a lot of other times it didn't. And people don't see that. They just see, hey, you're always putting stuff up. If you want to go through my 100 terabytes, there it is.
Yeah.
It's like nothing. You know, sometimes you die a death on the tours, but he's do something.
Yes, the thing is, I would watch that. I actually prefer to watch video footage and live feeds of just investigators just doing their thing.
I think that's why the live streams have been quite popular on Facebook that we've been doing, because we're doing them live. It's just, we're in the moment. So are you when you're watching. And we'll use the ghost box and we'll use all that just for the entertainment for people to listen to because they like it. But then I'll just put the highlights up. I'll just clip any highlights from it. So, but they can still go, even the one videos we put up now on YouTube, which are very short, 20 minutes, 25 minutes highlights from an investigation, they can still go and watch the full one. If they're not sure whether that really happened or that, go and watch the full one. It's still available on Facebook. You can go and watch the hour and a half or something like that. So they have that ability to do either. So
that's right. Yeah, we'll put some links up afterwards. Are there any questions for these guys? You guys got any questions for Cag and Alison?
Yep. Evening, ladies.
Oh, guys, meet some of the team members from my team.
Hey, I'm
Sorry,
looking at the
We've met
names.
before.
This is half the team.
Hi.
My question for you is, in your personal opinion, when it comes to a potential haunting in a location, do you think that age and history is important, or do you think that a haunting can happen anywhere?
Well, it can happen anywhere. When we were researching and not doing the tours, again, you know, people forget we were paranormal field investigators for many years. We were getting called into modern day houses that had no deaths in those houses at all. But when you looked in the land records, that's when you found there was a property there, a farm, well, in fact, one of them was a dairy farm where there'd been a death. So I don't think it's always to do with, you know, you can have a brand new house, but it's not always to do with the house. It can be to do with whatever was there beforehand. So the weirdest one, here's the weird one for you, is a gentleman I got called out to a house on an estate. This is a funny one. And he was getting up in the night, and sometimes he was seeing a cow grazing in his hallway. And it's like, what? So we didn't see it. But it's a modern day estate with lots and lots of houses. But that's when we went into the land records and we went, okay, well, what was it? And it turned out it was a dairy farm going back through time, a long, long time before the land was used for anything else. So maybe, I don't know, a glimpse of the past. I don't think it was a ghost. But
Actually, funny you should mention that. There's one story I did hear. It was from I can't remember who put it out, but it was from a UK team that were investigating an old meatworks. And it was completely empty. It was abandoned, and it had been abandoned for many, many years. And they did all these EVP recordings, and they recorded in the audio when they played it back. There was the sounds of hundreds of cows. It was almost like the building had sort of stored the sound of cows.
Yeah, which is a whole new subject altogether. To do with that.
So something residual, perhaps. That's always sort of stuck with me. That one. It's quite an interesting one. There's no cows in the general area.
Yeah, I think we try and clump everything into the same box, and I don't think we can. I think there's a lot of different things happening. It's hard enough to prove this stuff exists without saying how it works, and that's one thing I drum through to my tour as well. If I start telling you how it works, walk away from me, because it's hard enough to prove this stuff exists. So you know, it's
Any other questions? Any questions?
Ladies?
No, I just want to say beginning of last year, January, I went and did the Adelaide jail tour before COVID struck. And I had a rip-roaring time. It's fantastic.
Now, was it with us? Because there's 4 operators there.
No, I don't think it was, but I wasn't going to say that. It
You'll
was.
have to come back and do it with us then.
Yes, yeah. It was actually the first time I ever got my hands on any dowsing rods.
Okay.
We
know who that is.
We don't use them.
No, and I went, oh, this is a load of rubbish. And then actually I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Okay, and it sort of just made me explore further, you know. It was like one of those, okay, cool. But I mean, it's such a fabulous place. It's got so many stories and the backstories behind the people there. That's what I love about actually the investigation, is finding out the history and the stories and the people behind everything.
Yeah.
And that was
that's what I say, because I do other tours, not just ghost and investigations. I do dark history, which, like Zedward, the criminally insane, we look at the face of Zedward. So we look at about 12 of the murderers, historical ones that were put in there, their stories and what happened to them. And I put the slant on it that they were as much of a victim as the people that they killed, because in the 1800s, you know, a head injury can cause a brain damage where it can lead to somebody who is perfectly nice doing this murder. And it's really interesting. You can't have a ghost without who is it. So the history is so important. The people history is so important, telling their stories. And it's just, very passionate.
Getting their stories correct.
And getting them correct, So it's another passion of mine. So.
That's awesome. Have we got any questions from our viewers at the moment?
Let me have a look here.
They're probably gone to sleep with us talking.
Yeah, we thought we'd do something different for a Wednesday night.
There was a question a couple of minutes ago. Have you ever had to shut down an investigation because it becomes so intense, or alternatively, little to no activity? And how and when do you determine when to shut down an investigation?
Never had to shut one down. Low activity, it gives us an opportunity to chat more history, try some different experiments with the guests so that they can see some other ways. Low activity just means that they learn that it's not going to happen every time. But the fun comes in, the fun is in the fishing. So casting that line, seeing if you get a bite. And the guests love that, so it doesn't matter. They don't have to have something happen, although that's a bonus. The intensity, there's only once where, and the video is actually up online, it's up on YouTube. At Tailem, I was supposed to have 4 people for a tour. Only 2 turned up. It was before Christmas. I didn't want to cancel. It was about the week before Christmas. I thought, I'll go up on my own anyway and just run the tour off. It's in the big pioneer village. So it's about 115 buildings that he has, all kind of old 1910, 1890 kind of homes. And there's one building I don't like. Now, everything was fine. Walked into this building, started to tell the stories in there to this couple, and you'll start to see us getting very on edge because we always run a camera in there. And this is why we've got it and why we've got it up. You will hear shuffling footsteps starting down the end of the building. You will hear shuffling footsteps closer to us. You can see all 3 of us are starting to, even me, starting to get on edge. You can hear something playing with the camera as if it's trying to turn it off. You can hear heavy breathing on the microphone camera, which is right up on a tripod on top of a counter away from us. It honestly felt predatory. That's the best way I can describe it. Felt predatory that night. We discussed between us, do we stop the tour now and leave? Or do we just finish the stories and try and get it? And it's like, we did finish it. It followed us to the church. And by the end of that, I left with the tour. I said, look, I'm just going to get my camera, put it in. You had to feel it, though. You had to feel it. It was the most intense night that I've ever had in one of our locations. It felt like it was hunting. That's the best way of saying it. But we did keep on, and it didn't do anything. But it came that close. So.
Wow. See, that excites me.
It does. It excites me as well. But when you know you've got to go back into a village of 150 and you've seen what it can do in the past, and it's like you're on your own, it's kind of, I'm not going to lie, it felt like it was hunting. It's the one and only time in 30 odd years I went, you know what? I'm going to drive out that gate with that couple. And I've never done that before, but you had to feel it. It was bad. Very bad. So once in 11 years in that place. So. Right.
Oh dear. So okay, dream locations that you'd love to investigate sometime that you haven't yet. Can't be many left.
Yeah, I'm going to say I'm very lucky because I've done a lot of them, and I don't mean that in a big-headed way. It's just that we've just decided to live life, I guess, and not, have regrets at the end of it. And where else would you?
I don't think there's anywhere. There's one or two places I want to go back to.
Yeah, I think
I just want to get on a plane, guys.
Yeah.
I just want to get on a plane and go somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't care where.
No.
I just want to get on a plane.
Yeah.
I hear you. I'm hanging out to book my flights. Well, every time I go overseas, I come back and then I find out all these other places that I hadn't thought of at the time.
Yeah.
I find out with a massive big list of other new places.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we had a few places lined up in England before it got cancelled due to COVID. We had
England and America.
Yeah, we had the Steelhouse. I was looking forward to that one. That's been one.
It's a museum, Steelhouse Museum in Birmingham.
Which is a big police place. And that other pub, what's the other pub? Not the old one, what's the other one? The one in Wales.
Oh,
there's another one in Wales, and I can't remember its name. It's a really well-known
one. It's a really well-known haunted one. I'm trying to think where it is. It's
top of my mind, can't remember. It's well-known. That's always been on my bucket list as well, to go there. And we had it for 2 nights before we got shut down. So
Oh, okay.
So there's a lot of places I'd like to go back to. We're still discovering places. Like when we look through England, America, when we go over, there's so many still to do. Winchester House, except they don't allow investigations there, I don't believe. So.
Oh, really? Oh.
Love to do that one day.
So have you ever been to a place that had huge stories attached to it, then you go there and you find out that it was pretty much faked?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm not going to mention names.
No, we're not going to mention.
But we meant Bobby Mackey was one of them.
All right.
Oh, we don't know it was fake.
No. Well, the stories behind a certain program wasn't right.
Even the people at Bobby Mackey said it was over sensationalized. It never happened.
They actually,
we're not going to go any further than that.
No, but they ruined the reputation of a local lady who was a nice lady, which is a horrible thing to do.
Yeah.
And we've had that a few times, going around different places where you've heard the stories, you've seen different things, and then you go there and it's absolute garbage. Yeah, absolute garbage.
Mine was, and I'll say it, mine was Loftus House. Loftus House in Ireland.
Oh, I've heard that one. I've heard about the little...
We had a choice of going there, and we thought, should we or shouldn't we? And then we thought, let's not.
They were very dodgy. And then I saw a cable attached to a chair, which moved, and I pointed it out to somebody, and the tour guide noticed me that I'd seen it. And I went to take a sneaky photo. I got kicked out.
And you got the photo, did you?
I got booted out, and it got really nasty. Yeah.
It's that Ouija board you did.
We're not allowed to use Ouija boards in our venues because our venue owners won't allow us, which is fair enough. But I did. We went to one place where we had to get in that venue. You have to go with another group operator because normally Alison hires it just for the two of us to go in. So we went with another group, and they wanted us to do a Ouija board. And they said, fine, we're somebody else's group, we'll do whatever anybody wants us to do. And there's just four of us on the Ouija board, and then the girlfriend of one of the people that was running the tour, she was on it, and she was leading the board. And I could feel her finger pushing the planchette. So I was pushing my finger, because I'm really bad. I was pushing it against her.
I've done that,
Yeah. And then she went, she knew what I was doing, and then she said, do you want to talk to anybody here? And we would have to say our names. Do you want to talk to anybody here? And it went to Kay. And she went, oh, Caggett wants to talk to you. And I went, okay, what do you want to say? And it went, goodbye. They want you off the board. And I was like, that's convenient.
Yeah.
So of course then there was a young couple on, and the young lady was absolutely terrified. She so believed in the Ouija board, and she was crying. And this woman was doing all sorts to make her even worse, and she wanted to leave. And she said, no, you can't. I said, yes, you can. She just say, thank you, I'm leaving the board, and come and join me. This woman says, no, she can't. I said, yes, she can. So I said, come on, just say, I'm leaving the board, come and stand next to me. And she did. And this woman got really cheesed off me, and she went, do you want to talk to anybody here? And she went with a planchette, and it went to Kay, and I went, okay, what do you want to say? And it went C-O-W, C-O-W, C-O. I just cracked up laughing. I was just like, don't try and pull me with something like that. But to upset, that's what got me. This young lady was absolutely petrified. She was crying.
It's not fair.
Don't do that.
No. We've had a few nice experiences with Ouija boards, haven't we, guys? At public events. There was one woman that she gave it a go for the first time, and she ended up in tears, but very, very happy because she'd had a bit of closure. She'd talked to her deceased husband, and it was quite a nice experience. And even though I don't really sort of get into that side of things myself, it was just nice that she had this experience, and it was a positive experience for her, and she really got a lot out of it. So it was really nice,
We all did it as a teenager. I know I did. You got your little letters out on the table.
We've had numerous people have personal experiences using the ghost box, but as clear as day.
I had one that was really weird. And I know the ghost box, I'm the same with it. I get embarrassed when I use it. But I had one gentleman who was desperate to listen back to the video or look back on the video because he was convinced that his father had come through. And I don't have enough man hours in the day to look at the amount of video footage we've taken a week from several different tours, 3 different cameras. And I said, yeah, I'll go and have a look at it. I'm thinking it's probably just pareidolia. It's probably just, stuff stuff happening. And I didn't get a chance. He kept pestering me. I didn't get a chance. And then Christmas morning, my kids hadn't got up. And I thought, you know what? He's going to pester me again. I don't know what. Christmas morning, I'll have a look at it. And oh my God, they were asking questions. We were at the Adelaide jail. He was asking questions and it said his name. And you can hear it clearly. And he obviously caught it. And he said, well, who is it who wants to talk to me? And it says, Dad, very clearly as well. And he says, well, what do you want to say to me, Dad? And it gave me chills because it said, I love you, like that. Mm-hmm. So I clicked it off, sent it to him, and he just burst out crying. He said, you will never know how much this meant to me this morning. He said, because his dad died when he was 16 and he always thought his dad didn't love it, always thought his dad didn't care for it. And it was as clear as day. It was the clearest one I heard coming through, and it was slow, boom, boom, boom. And it's just, you know, even if it was just coincidence, even if it was just radio that just happened to have the right words at the right time, he went away. It's changed his life. That was several years ago. I met up with somebody who knew him, and they came on a tour and they said, oh yeah, there's this guy. I said, oh my God, I remember him. She said, that changed his whole life. For the better, because he was always very troubled. He was always very, just couldn't settle in life. And he said, when he got that, it just changed it completely. Different person after that. Yeah. And I thought, you know what, even if it's rubbish, even if it changed somebody's life for the better, then, you know, so be it. But
that's exactly how I feel. I mean, I might rubbish a whole bunch of equipment and put down a lot of stuff, but I mean, in the big picture, you know, if it's making people happy,
yep.
Who are we to burst their bubble and all that?
Yeah. I don't know. That's why we call it mystery. That's why we love it so. Yeah. Who knows how it works?
Yeah. Sam,
we love it.
No, I was just agreeing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is our responsibility as well to, you know, let people have their peace. You know, as much as we might like to debunk things and find logical reasons, you know, letting people have their little bit of nice and takeaway out of it is something good. It's a positive.
If it's a positive on their life, then it changes the life for the better. Hey.
Yeah.
You know, we all need that sometimes, don't we? So,
yeah. All right, I think we've exhausted it now. Well, it's about a couple of hours now. We've done 2 hours. That's great. Oh, thanks, guys, for joining us.
Again.
Oh, it's awesome. Oh, it's good to see you guys, and we'll get over there. I mean, I personally want to bring the whole team over. You know, I want us to all travel over there and just go for it. I think we can.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, definitely look us up. So.
Definitely. Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay, guys. Thanks very much.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, that was neat. Right. So have we got any more questions there, Sam?
Yep, we've got another question from...
We've got a few people hanging in there?
Yep. What's the process on confirming or finding or debunking something? Analysis, I think, is the answer to that one. There's a lot of going over footage or recordings. So when we go on an investigation, we collect a lot of data, and you know, it's not all done on the same night. A lot of it is down to reviewing, so it can take up to you know, a week, a few days after our investigation. So it's all a matter of looking at what we've recorded and going back to certain spots where we thought we might have heard something. And then it's all about camera angles as well, we found as well. Sometimes we've caught things on camera that we thought, oh, you know, that's kind of interesting. And it's not until we find a different camera angle that we realize that it might have been one of us.
Yeah.
You know, we all make noises and we all do things subconsciously that we don't always realize. So I think that's also important.
We've had a couple of recent ones, haven't we, Aimee?
Yeah.
Well, yes, it's always Aimee. Yeah, we heard this noise, and we thought it sounded like a baby crying in this old pioneer house, and we're going, that's so weird, because we're all sort of talking through it as if we hadn't heard it. And it was only sort of when we reviewed other camera angles and got different inputs that actually it was me making some weird noise as I was trying to do something. I don't know, but yeah, it was me. So,
Yeah.
and then there was the
lake
laugh,
house?
wasn't there? Yeah.
The lake house. That was a
So-
good one. Yeah.
Like I thought we got something. I was so excited about that.
Me
The
too.
camera at the top of the stairs. It sounded like it had heard a little tiny girl's. Sorry, hold on a minute. Sorry, a little tiny girl's giggle, and we're like, oh my gosh, we've caught the 9-year-old Domino playing Ghost. Awesome, yay!
Patty, it's Patty.
It's Patty. And we're like, no, look, there was only 2 women in the building and they're down at the bottom of the stairs and you can see them on camera. They're being interviewed by Mark at that exact moment. And then when you actually reviewed Mark's footage at the bottom, you actually did see that Barbara actually did a little half giggly thing in the middle of her speaking. And it was actually just that the sound had been projected up the stairs and it was actually her giggle.
It's amazing how different it can sound on different cameras. The audio can just change its whole acoustic just by being on different cameras. It's quite incredible how it can sound vocal on one camera, and you listen to another one and that's just a traffic, or it's a car, or somebody just talking naturally.
And even when you're listening to things play back, just normally, like you play it out loud, like you go, oh, is that something? But then when you actually put it on through headphones and you listen to it properly, you're like, oh no, that's definitely a car. Or whatever else. I mean, I think we probably don't prove a finding that often. We kind of debunk things, but there's things that we're just like, oh, we're not sure about that. So we don't say it's a definite finding. It's something to look at further, I think.
Yeah, for us to say that it's evidence or something conclusive, we have to have enough to back it up. So at this stage, we have lots of little interesting bits of video and audio, lots of anomalies and bits and pieces, but nothing that we can actually confirm that is a ghost at this point. It takes a lot. You've got to be able to back up that kind of statement.
Also, I think that the going to a location is just part of the investigation. So as soon as we find something that we think might be quite interesting, that's a whole other series of investigation in itself. We have to go down the path of what that certain happening might be. Because if we don't do the research or the investigation, somebody else will, and we can't release anything that we think might be, potential paranormal activity for that reason. Someone else will debunk it. They could take it and say it's something else. It's always a possibility.
Yeah. Well, that's why we release things on YouTube. We have our YouTube channel where we just put our footage out there. Just to gauge, because we want to gauge opinions and thoughts from other researchers as well. So we do a lot of networking with researchers all around the world, and we put stuff up on Facebook and on YouTube, and we say, what do you guys think? And it's nice to have a link that you can send them a link to footage, and then a lot of them will say, well, we captured something very similar at this place, and or we captured something similar, but we found out it was this. And so they're able to help us debunk or find an explanation for. There are some times where you'll capture something and you won't have any explanations at all, but somebody will come along with one explanation, and you just need one explanation, then it starts the ball rolling, a different sort of frame of thinking.
And often that's Tash or Sam that often has some of those really good explanations.
Yeah.
Sometimes all it is a set of fresh eyes, set of fresh ears.
Yeah, I've had some that I can't explain. I should send them through.
That cowbell. The cowbell is interesting.
Yeah, the cowbell one. And later, there is an EVP of someone talking while we're all in the cinema. It's interesting by what you think they say, which I won't say, to see if people can hear what they say.
Don't tell us. Yeah.
No.
Where was that captured?
That was the
Capitol.
Okay, when we were in the theatre, we actually had the cowbell with us, but you could actually hear the cowbell ringing outside in the foyer on Natasha's camera, but it never rang in the foyer on our video footage when you align the videos up. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, we had the cowbell. We rang it once or twice, but you hear 3 definite separate rings outside of the theatre while we're all inside. About 40 minutes into our communication session. So everyone was all in the theatre.
Yeah.
So I can't explain where the cowbell noise came from
And one of the claims that they have
in the
there
foyer.
is the cowbell ringing in the foyer, isn't it? That's one of the stories. So yeah, that's neat.
It's a story. I should send it. I'll see if I can find it again. I did post it, I think.
It does sound familiar. Maybe you mentioned it or something. Maybe you mentioned
I think it was mentioned, but we didn't analyse it deeply as a team, I don't think.
Oh, we need to.
But yeah. I'll send them through. I have heaps of video, but I haven't uploaded it because
it's heaps.
As everyone's been saying, we has heaps, and I don't have much space on my Google Drive. Yeah.
So do you reckon one last question from Dan, who's posted it a few times, so very keen for us to answer it, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So we used to explore Carlisle House back in the day as kids. I think we saw/sensed a lot of stuff there. Have you guys done an investigation there, and how was it?
We can't get into a Carlisle House. I've been trying for many, many years. I did go in once, briefly, quite a few years ago, maybe about 10 years ago. I sort of went for a quick wander around, snapped a few photos, and then got out. There was some janitor doing the cleaning outside, some gardener or something, and the door was open. So I just said, can I just pop in and take some photos? And he said, yeah. So it was very brief. Looks like a very cool place. I'd love to spend more time in there, but it's rotting. It's very it's very decayed inside, and everything's collapsing, and it's not very safe. It's owned by the Tongan Church, and they can't afford to fix it up. So I don't see it getting renovated anytime soon, which is a shame. It's a beautiful old building, but the foundations, it's pretty, it's rotting. It won't be standing for very much longer, I'd say. Yeah. But very cool place. The stories surrounding Carlisle House, they're not all true. There was never a fire that killed a whole bunch of people. There were no children that were killed there in a fire at any point. There's a lot of myths surrounding that building. So yes, it was an orphanage, but it had many uses through the years. But the stories that are circulating about it aren't as dark as they claim. So yeah, don't believe everything you read. And I reckon we should end it there, guys. On a happy note.
Yep.
Yeah, we've done very well. Had some interesting guests. So, what we got there? So, thanks to Bill Tabone, Matt Benton, and Joe Vitale from Vegas, Cag and Alison, and everybody that's joined us tonight. It's been bloody great. I've had a great time, and thanks, guys, for joining me on this one. It's been awesome. Thanks to everybody that's sort of hung up with us and asked questions. It's been really good. We should do this again sometime, I reckon. So
Sounds good.
Thanks, guys. I'm going to bed now. So I'm tired. Got work in the morning. So thanks a lot for everybody tuning in. Thanks, team. Awesome job.
Yep. Thanks to everyone who joined us in the chats as well. It's been good. It's always makes it a lot easier when people comment and ask questions.
Yeah. And to those watching that are coming along to our investigation on the weekend, looking forward to meeting you all. Wrap up, bring a jacket and some gumboots if you've got them, because I've got a feeling it's going to be cold and possibly muddy. I'm not too sure. But looking forward to meeting you guys, and see you guys on social media sometime soon. Bye-bye.
See
See you, buddy. See ya. Bye.
Bye.